Hello YouTube! Today I'm here with a review of my new favorite game. No, not that one. I am loving the new Pokemon, but I just have to tell you about Fantasy Life since I've put like 40 something hours into it by now. So Fantasy Life is an RPG set in, surprise, a fantasy world called Reveria. In this game you can choose from 12 different lives or jobs or classes, but in this game they're called lives, for your character to master as you play through the main storyline. I'm going to walk through kind of the basic aspects of Fantasy Life as you would encounter them in the game. The character customization in Fantasy Life is, I think, pretty sweet. It's not obviously as detailed as Skyrim with, you know, how you can adjust the nose width and the jawline, but it's still detailed enough. There are a lot of feature and color options to go through to ensure that your character is just as cute and as fun as you. And as you play through the game, you can craft or buy new clothes to wear, and later you can even get your hair cut in case you're feeling a change. Like I said, you can choose from 12 different lives: Angler, Tailor, Miner, Alchemist, Carpenter, Blacksmith, Hunter, Paladin, Woodcutter, Magician, Mercenary, and Cook. There are 8 ranks you go through in each life as you use your skills, including Fledgling, Novice, Apprentice, Adept, Expert, Master, Hero, and Legend. Each life has a master you report to, and they'll give you challenges to complete around Reveria. As you complete these challenges, you'll rank up and learn new skills related to that life. Now, I'd say there are 3 different types of lives in Fantasy Life: combat-based, craft-based, and gather-based. The combat-based ones are Hunter, Paladin, Mercenary, and Magician. Each of these lives focus on learning to use their respective weapon and defeating enemies with it. The craft-based ones are Tailor, Alchemist, Carpenter, Blacksmith, and Cook. In these lives, you'll use a life-specific bench to craft items with various ingredients you collect. And the gather-based ones are Angler, Miner, and Woodcutter. With these, your skills allow you to gather certain items from places in Reveria, like catching a fish, mining an ore, or chopping down a tree to collect the wood. And a lot of these lives provide benefits to each other, which are almost necessary. For example, you can use the ores you collect as a miner to craft weapons and armor as a blacksmith, which you can use as a mercenary. If you were only a mercenary, hi Rain, if you were only a mercenary, you would have to buy all of your armor and weapons. Hi Rain, come here. Want to hop in my lap? No, okay, bye. And if you were only a mercenary and a blacksmith, you would have to buy all the ores and materials in order to create the weapons and armor. So what I'm trying to say is having almost as many lives as possible is really beneficial so that you don't have to buy a lot of items and that you can use all the items that you gather as you're exploring Reveria. The only restriction I would recommend is only having one combat-based life. It would be really daunting to level up more than one of these lives because you have to have the weapon equipped for the life that you want to level up, and it would just take a lot of time in specific areas to level those up. As long as you can fight enemies with one weapon, then you're good. You can have as few or as many lives as you want, and you can level all of them up at once. Even if a certain life isn't active, you can still use skills you've learned from that life. So even if you're an active magician, you can still go to an alchemist bench and make potions. As you're leveling up your skills and your lives, you'll be following the main storyline and exploring the world of Reveria. This map is pretty expansive, though it's no open world like Skyrim. Like a lot of RPGs, you have to complete certain quests before you can unlock new areas. You can't run to the final area of the map to check out the bosses before it's your time. Patience, Grasshopper. Busy! The world is so diverse though, so you'll have fun exploring as you go. You have cities, forests, beaches, deserts, mountains, caves, all of it. And it's so cute! Everything is so beautifully designed, from the buildings to the nature to the enemies to the items. Ugh, how can you not love it? Anywhere and everywhere you go is useful too. Huge part of Fantasy Life is just gathering the stuff you find as you're exploring everything. You'll always have random items to pick up, a fish to catch, a fancier ore to mine, and a new tree to chop down. And everything can be used in crafts in various lives. Yes, even the animal droppings have a purpose. In any combat life, you start out with the basic A to attack and Y to change targets commands. Once you've used these some, you'll learn a bit more powerful attack by holding down A, and eventually an even more powerful attack by holding down X to use your special attack. There's no specific dodge or parry move, but you can avoid enemies' attacks by jerking back the circle pad. As you're exploring Reveria, you'll encounter a lot of different enemies, some fluffy and cute, and some not so fluffy. Almost all of them will drop HP, money, and or items. In each area will have a different mix of enemies that get tougher as you progress. Even if you don't have a combat-based life, you can still defeat these enemies with a dagger and you can level up that skill. It's just obviously not as much fun as wielding a claymore or casting a spell. Vast majority of enemies in an area will be equal to or lower than your current level, so that you can fight them to level up. However, even the very beginning areas have bosses that are impossible to defeat early on. These are enemies with silver or gold crowns next to their names. The silver ones are much easier than the golds, but still, you know, quite a bit harder than the regular enemies, and they can still take a while to defeat. The East Grassy Plains is the first enemy area you go to, which this is home to the Nap Dragon, which is the first gold crown boss you encounter. You can't do even like the tiniest bit of damage at the beginning. This is where multiplayer battles come into play. Getting together with friends and using a mercenary as a heavy hitter, a hunter as a ranged attacker, and a magician as a healer can really make these boss battles a breeze. You don't have to use multiplayer though. You can wait until you're like level 50 or so and come back and defeat these big bosses. I'm gonna skim over these last few topics because I can already see you zoning out there, and plus these aren't like a huge focus in the game. As for houses, you can own up to 3 of those in Fantasy Life. And you can decorate each house to your liking with furniture you craft or buy. The choices aren't extensive as like Animal Crossing, but it's still cute and fun. You can also have up to 3 pets in these houses as well. Bounties are dropped by defeated bosses, which, on top of monsters, even take the form of really huge ores you can mine, crazy trees you can chop down, and tough fish you can catch. The bounties are big boxes or bags that you collect and trail behind you as you take them to a bounty clerk, where you turn them in for money and rare items. So the tougher the boss, the more awesome the bounty. And finally, bliss. Bliss is collected as you complete mini quests, which are mostly things that you would be doing anyways as you play the game. Every time you complete the next required amount of bliss, you can unlock a new bliss bonus. These bonuses include things like expanding your storage, accessing new items and shops, being able to buy pets, getting your hair cut, and having an animal to ride around Riveria. Well, I think those are the main bases I wanted to cover. I have some helpful links and some more information on my personal Fantasy Life game down in the description box. I hope this all made sense, and I hope this helped anyone that was kind of on the fence about whether or not they should buy it. You should! Leave me any video suggestions you have in the comments, and as always, be kind to one another and don't forget to be awesome. Bye!